Before the United States became a nation, before the flag ever waved above the land of the free, there were men, tired, starving, freezing, who fought not for glory, but for the dream of freedom. This is their story. It was the winter of 1777. The American Revolution had already raged for 2 years. The dream of liberty had begun with the fire of passion, but by now that fire was fading. The soldiers of the Continental Army, under the command of General George Washington, marched toward a place that would test not only their strength, but their very souls. Valley Forge. Washington knew this march might destroy his army, but there was no other choice. The British controlled Philadelphia. Supplies were gone. Towns were burned. And yet, retreat was not an option. When they reached Valley Forge, there were 12,000 men. Within weeks, that number would fall. Cold, hunger, and disease would take more lives than bullets ever could. There were no shoes for half the army. Blood marked the snow where they marched. Washington walked among them, not as a distant general, but as a man sharing their suffering. He saw men gnawing on frozen bread, heard the coughing that echoed through the camp at night. Yet, through that misery, he never once gave in to despair. One night, as a blizzard tore through the camp, a Quaker farmer named Isaac Potts claimed to see a vision. George Washington, alone in the woods, kneeling in the snow, praying for his soldiers and for the birth of a new nation. Valley Forge became more than a winter camp. It became the forge of freedom, a place where a ragged army was reborn into a disciplined force. And the man who would lead that transformation was a Prussian officer, Baron Friedrich von Steuben. Von Steuben spoke no English, but through gestures, shouts, and fierce energy, he drilled the men, taught them how to fight, how to move, how to survive as a real army. He turned chaos into order. As the weeks passed, the men changed. They learned to march as one, to fire as one, to trust one another. Hunger still haunted them, but now so did hope. In May of 1778, news came that France had joined the war. On America's side, cheers echoed through the camp. After months of silence and suffering, the sound of drums and laughter filled the valley. When spring came, the army that marched out of Valley Forge was not the same one that had entered it. They were leaner, tougher, and united by something unbreakable. Freedom was no longer a dream. It was a purpose. Soon they would face the British again, at Monmouth and beyond. This time, they would not run. This time, they would fight with the spirit of Valley Forge burning inside them. Years later, when the war finally ended, George Washington stood before his men one last time. He looked at faces once starving, now hardened by victory, and with quiet emotion, he said, "With a heart full of love and gratitude, I now take leave of you." From the frozen misery of Valley Forge to the triumph of Yorktown, their journey became legend, and out of their pain was born a nation. Freedom was not given, it was earned, by those who had nothing left but courage. They were not gods, nor heroes born. They were farmers, blacksmiths, sons, and fathers who believed in something greater than themselves. They were the first soldiers of the United States of America. This was their story, the winter that tested a nation's soul and forged its freedom forever.